that right hash. He'll cut back in. And he'll do a spin move. He's still up.
Rolling near side. He'll loft it up to the end zone. Bat of the way.
Tipped up. Oh, tip drill.
Extending the play. Downfield. Has a look. And completed.
Nice. Trying to see. He'll try to fly in. Oh, he held on.
Welcome into Spring Lake Park High School. Tonight's Friday Night Lights matchup pitting the Spring Lake Park Panthers against the Robbinsdale Armstrong Falcons. Spring Lake Park coming in undefeated on the season and up to number 3 in the most recent Class 5A poll. The Spring Lake Park Panthers facing their stiffest test of the year against a regular state tournament team in the Falcons, who have gone off to 3 straight tourneys under the head coach Jack Niggin in recent history. Spring Lake Park, though, led by the head coach John Stewart, and they're out to one of the best starts in recent Panther history. A 4-0 start for the first time in 9 years. SLP's last team that started 4-0 went to the Prep Bowl. They were 12-0 going into a matchup with Elk River, lost in that Class 5A championship game. This Spring Lake Park team have been excellent rushing 5A championship game. This Spring Lake Park team have been excellent rushing for nearly 250 yards in 4 straight games, and doing it with a slightly different look than you're used to seeing. They've moved away from the split halfback veer option into a similar but slightly different flexbone triple option that they've been employing this year. So the Panthers making those adjustments, and they're a threat to pass the ball as well too. But these two teams both can really run it, so we're going to key in on the running game for both squads and our players to watch for Robbinsdale Armstrong. They're a spread offense, but predicated on establishing the run game. They passed for 140 in all 4 games, but held to a season low 120 on the ground last week in the loss to Buffalo. They're going to try to get these 2 juniors, Ben Francis and Zakai Nix, going, a pair of upperclassmen that have stepped in to fill the void of former Mr. Football finalist Kevon Johnson, who rushed for over 2,000 yards in a Falcons uniform. They're trying to replace him in the aggregate with a couple of talented juniors this year. For Spring Lake Park, they're going to run the ball. It's a slightly different scheme, but they're not getting away from their principles. Lamari Brown, one of the best to ever do it at SLP. He's 4th with over 2,700 career rushing yards, and a nice complimentary back, a sophomore, Marquell Mitchell, has stepped up, coming off his 2nd game crossing the century mark in the win last week at Cambridge I-Sandy. So they've got plenty of talented backs to spell Lamari Brown. We've got the Panthers and the Armstrong Falcons coming up in this Class 5A matchup next on North Metro TV.
Going deep. He's got a man. Mr. Brown puts the Panthers up by 3 scores. Quarterback throws it up. He's got park and drive across the 45. Up the middle, plunging into the end zone. Touchdown number 2. What can Brown do for you? Get good perimeter blocking from the outside. He's across the 20. He's inside the 10 to the 5. Yeah, goodbye. Touchdown, Spring Lake Park.
Back here in Spring Lake Park, kickoff about to get underway. The talented soccer player Moses Kamara will get us underway here for Armstrong. Welch back deep for the Panthers. He'll take the kick. He'll cut it out to the left side on the return. Here goes Colin Welch past the 40, past the 50. Oh, he's into enemy territory. Colin Welch, lost an edge at the 20. He had the touchdown in his sights, but the Panthers set up with terrific opening field position right out of the opening kickoff. It'll put him at the 21 here on what's going to be a 79-yard return for Colin Welch to start the night. Wow. And Welch, he had 1 man still to beat, but lost his footing there, in the Panthers' outstanding field position here to start this opening drive. Nolan Roach will take command of the offense here, the junior for SLP. He looks out, floating one, end zone, and a touchdown not secured here for Spring Lake Park. Oh, a good route run there by Keelan Conkler. but couldn't haul it in. Caden Conkler, the sophomore, couldn't bring in his 9th reception of the year. Roach has been awfully good, completing nearly 70% of his passes. 5-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And the Spring Lake Park team, known for running the ball, have been a passing threat this year, as you see with that misfire to Conkler. They're averaging 135 yards through the air, which is 15th out of 43 teams in Class 5. Again, they'll go back to their bread and butter, running the ball with Marquell Mitchell, the sophomore, who is the leading rusher for Spring Lake Park with over 360 yards on the season. He picks up 1 yard on the first rush of the day for the Panthers and will bring up 3rd down and 9 for Spring Lake Park. Offensive line that are clearing the way for Mitchell and the Panthers. It's Holt, Drum, Hillsmith, Christensen, and Nielsen. The 3 interior linemen, all multi-year starters for Coach Stewart and the Panthers. Roach with a lot of talented backs to go to, including Mitchell Monluo. It is a keeper here by Nolan Roach, and he gets pancaked up at the front of the defensive line. Elijah Woods, the big junior D tackle, in on the thick of the tackle there. Roach will slash forward for a couple of yards here for the Panthers. And a good wrap up there from number 5, Eli Kemple, the outside backer, will bring up the 4th down for Spring Lake Park. Give Roach the 3, so 4th down and 6 here for the Panthers. Monluo motioning. They will tuck it off to E.J. Monluo, but a big stop here by Robbinsdale Armstrong. Cal Pylon, the leading tackler, was first into the football here for Robbinsdale Armstrong, and a huge stop after a 70-plus yard return by Colin Welch to start the night. Panthers go for it on 4th, and E.J. Monluo picking up just a couple of yards when the Panthers needed 6. Big time stop there by the Armstrong defense. We're averaging fewer than 14 allowed per game. They get a huge stop, a 3 and out to start the night here for SLP. And now we'll see our first look at Gabe Hall, the senior quarterback, who was a starting corner on the defensive side of the ball for the Falcons last year. It is a new identity at Armstrong after they graduated last year's Star Tribune Player of the Year, Kevon Johnson. Dawson Frankie was a 2-year starter at quarterback. So although he was the backup last year, he did not get any in-game snaps at the position. The first handoff of the day goes to Ben Francis, the starting halfback here for Robbinsdale Armstrong, as they get things started with a 2-yard run. Francis going to mix in with Zakai Nix. Those two guys kind of 1A, 1B in the depth chart. Your linemen are Jackson Johnson, Javian Jernigan, Max Peters Herbert, Caleb Bowman, and Ollie Brecht. Only Brecht, the right tackle, was a starter for Armstrong's state tournament team from a year ago. You see an early tackle there made by the Panthers to Cade Skelly. A couple of carries by Ben Francis here to start out the day. There's a 3-yard pickup for Francis, and a big 3rd down attempt here coming up with 4 to go for the Falcons. In motion, the 2 receivers over to the right side. That's Pylon and Kemple in motion. Francis with the pitch. Well read by the Spring Lake Park defense. Ripping that play to shreds in the backfield was Sawyer Thompson, the senior outside linebacker. And this might be a night for defenses, as the Panthers are allowing 11 points per game coming in. And that was a big thump there on a tackle for a loss by Thompson to drop Francis for a loss of 1. 4th down and long. And the Falcons see what they do with it here. I think they're going to bring the punt team out of the field. Yep, Everett Daly, their defensive lineman who handles the punts for Robbinsdale Armstrong on the field. 8:20 left to go. Both defenses are going to come out with a 3 and out to start the night. Colin Welch opened up the day with an 80-plus yard return, but the Panthers were unable to convert on that opportunity just outside the red zone. They returned it to the 21 from about the 1-yard line. Armstrong's going to take a delay of game penalty here to set him back another 5 yards, or first penalty of the day. Yeah, two outstanding defenses. You look at the numbers, Spring Lake Park have allowed 11 per game, but their defense have 11 takeaways as Daly gets that kick off. It's going to be fielded by Colin Welch. This time he's wrapped up. Good special teams tackle there by Lucas Watke to limit the gain to just 1 or 2 there for Welch. The Panthers will start out their second drive, though, inside Armstrong territory. The Spring Lake Park defense, to finish that point, they've only given up, you could basically say, 2.5 touchdowns this year. Park Center scored 3 on the Panthers, but that was in the second half with a lot of the backups in. And when the Panthers were leading 42-0 in that game in week 3. And 2 of the touchdowns Spring Lake Park have allowed have come on special teams. Here's they pitch it outside. Lamari Brown coming up the right side. Lamari Brown with a big time run for the first down and then some. They will line up Lamari Brown wherever they think they can get him the football. He lined up as the B-back here, the fullback, if you will, the flexbone triple option. And he takes that toss on the end around to the right, and a big play here for the first Panther first down of the night. From the 44 to the 20, so call it a 20-yard gain on that crack toss there to Lamari Brown. Roach handles the snap. They'll go to Mitchell up the gut, and he's stuffed by that Robbinsdale Armstrong defense. Cal Pylon was in there, as was one of his teammates, number 3. That's Pylon getting in on the stick. Pylon's been active. Good drive there by Eli Kemble. A couple of the senior outside linebackers into the tandem stop. That drop back Mitchell a yard, and it's second down and 11 here for Spring Lake Park. Roach barking out the orders down there. Second-year starter. He split snaps at quarterback with Tyler Wilkinson last year. Roach kept it. Kind of at the last minute, he was still making that decision whether to tuck it off to his fullback Mitchell, and only a gain of 1 there as Roach gets the 1 yard back that the Panthers had lost on the play prior, and it's third down and 10. Defenses coming to the forefront here in the early goings of this one. One big special teams play by the Panthers and one big run at 20 yards for Lamari Brown. That's been it. 1 first down so far combined between these two teams in the opening quarter. 6:20 left to go. Clock still running. Panthers knocking on the door of the red zone. Roach will take the snap. Drops back to pass. Roach, a little pump fake, then flips it off, looking for a check down in Mitchell, I think. It harmlessly fell to the reach of Eli Kemble, who dove after it. It's going to bring up 4th down and 10 for the Panthers here on the 20. Now Roach was just kind of getting rid of it, I think. I think he was hoping that Mitchell was maybe going to turn around or look for that pass, but that was basically a dump off just to get rid of it and avoid a sack. There's Jack Niggin, the head coach of Robbinsdale Armstrong, and this has been a field position battle here early. The Panthers, as they often do, going to go for it on 4th, see if they can make something happen. They'll flip it out to Lamari Brown. He looks for the edge. No room as that was blown up on the left side. Savion Robinson, the junior defensive end, 5'9", 220, wraps up Brown here for a limited gain for Spring Lake Park. He got 2 yards, did Brown. And that's where Robbinsdale Armstrong are going to take over at their own 18. The Panthers, I mean, they have a sophomore kicker, but they have not attempted a field goal yet this year. So if you're wondering, all right, Spring Lake Park, why not try to chip one through the sticks there? That's maybe something that Spring Lake Park are lacking. A very deep team, number 3 in the state, but they don't have a kind of reliable long-range kicker anyway. A couple of guys that have been good at kicking the point after touchdowns. There's a shot down the field, and it's going to be too far for the talented and speedy receiver Pharrell DeLine, a 5'10", 200-pound wideout. Back in the coverage there was Ian Allen, the junior, for Spring Lake Park. DeLine in his second varsity season, and maybe the most explosive receiver that the Falcons have. One of the targets for Gabe Hall, who handles the shotgun snap, tries to dump it off, and that will fall incomplete. So both quarterbacks have started out the day 0 for 2 apiece. He was looking for Lucas Wadke there, and it is going to bring up 3rd down and 10. Armstrong looking for their first down of the game. And the Panthers right now, they're going to feel like they should have come up with points, but their defense is standing tall. And Spring Lake Park are just keeping the Falcons pinned in their half of the field. Here's Hall looking downfield. Allen had a chance to pick that off. Wow, I think this was a little bit of a misread here by Ian Allen, the junior, who was back in coverage, number 27, and there's a flag. We'll see where this is coming from. From the back judge, that's John Andre. The head official going over to make the call. Looks like the offensive coordinator for Armstrong is going to decline that penalty. That was declined by the Panthers, we should say. Here's a look at John Stewart. So holding on the offense. I thought Allen had a chance to pick this one off, but holding on Spring Lake Park, would that have erased the play if you intercepted? There was holding on the play. Yeah, I think they would have accepted the penalty then. And either way, we're probably talking about an Armstrong punt here. And it'll be kicked away on the punt by Everett Daly. This will be returned by Welch for Spring Lake Park. Remember, Welch had that 80-plus yard return to start out the day. And again, the Panthers with their 3rd possession, and all 3 have been in this half of the field, but no points to speak of yet, as we've got 5:30 left to play here at Panther Stadium. It is a packed house. The energy is palpable here in Spring Lake Park tonight. 4-0 team, out to the Panthers' best start in 9 years since they went to the Prep Bowl. We talked about it in the open back in 2016, and you can feel it. A little extra bump for homecoming, and certainly what the Panthers have done on the field, a big reason for the great crowd tonight. As they will go with Lamari Brown handoff up the middle, and again, no running room here for the Panthers to get their prolific running attack going. Spring Lake Park averaging 282 yards per game on the ground this year, and give credit to this Armstrong defense who have stoned them. That was Everett Daly, the guy who's been taking the punts for Armstrong, their starting defensive end with the tackle. 5'9", 205-pound lineman. Panthers looking for some push up front. Roach back to Brown. He is swallowed up at the point of attack. Brown will churn his legs for 2 or 3 there, maybe at best. And it's going to set up another 3rd and long, make it 3rd and 7 as they spot Brown the 3 yards there. He had the one big carry on the pitch outside for 20. He's been bottled up otherwise, just 25 yards on 4 carries for Lamari Brown, who has rushed for over 100 yards in 11 of his 31 career games going back to his freshman year. Roach wheeling out. Oh, he's got his target, and a drop, just a straight up drop there right at the 30-yard line. Tough start to the day for Caden Conkler. Talented sophomore receiver, 8 catches, 152 yards, including 3 touchdowns coming in today. But he had the opportunity to catch that touchdown pass on the first drive. That was a tougher catch. That one he should have had there for the Panthers. They will bring out the punt team here. Marcus Schneider, number 4, the starting safety, has been handling the punts for the Panthers this year. And He's going to send that one through the end zone. And so the Panthers have gone 3 and out, turnover on downs, and now they punted it away for the first time in their first 3 series tonight. They will try to keep Armstrong pinned into this half. Jack Negan's the head coach in his 12th season here at Robbinsdale Armstrong. He's taken the Falcons to 3 straight state tournament appearances. Before the first state tourney trip in 2022, Armstrong High School had not gone to state in over 40 years. They have been a consistent power under Coach Negan here these last few years.
Counter!
Handoff here to the tailback. That is Zakai Nix busting loose. Biggest run of the day here for Robbinsdale Armstrong, as Nix will take it north of 15 yards here in his first carry of the day.
Gain of 15 on the play.
And they'll call it a 15-yard carry here. Some good push up front by that relatively inexperienced Armstrong offensive line. Their right tackle, number 73, Ollie Brecht, the only guy who saw starting snaps last year in that state tournament team for Armstrong. There's a flag on the field. I think this is going to go against the offense here for Armstrong. Mentioned John Andre is the head referee tonight. Oh, they're going to call encroachment on the Spring Lake Park defense. So 5 yards, moving Armstrong up here. Will still be a first down play. One of the hallmarks of Panther football under John Stewart, and heck, going back to the Jeff Sleef era, they do not typically make a lot of mistakes. Nix bouncing outside and wrapping him up off the outside tackle there for Spring Lake Park was number 53, first in the stop. That's Aaron Olson, a senior defensive lineman. This will bring up 2nd down and 3 after the pickup of 7. So seemingly Armstrong are kind of switching series here between their 2 running backs. As this is the Hall, the quarterback on the keeper. Big play by Cade Skelly to drop him for a loss of 2. Skelly, a 3rd-year starter. It is his 2nd year in a row leading the Panthers in tackles this season. Brought down Gabe Hall there for a loss. I mean, good pressure all around, as Aaron Olson, the senior, almost had the quarterback wrapped up in the backfield as well, too. 3rd down and 5 here for Armstrong. Hall dropping back and under duress. Hall will fire downfield. That one in and out of the hands of its intended receiver. Cal Pylon couldn't haul it in. And the Falcons have yet to complete a pass today, as Hall's been 0 for 4, and it hasn't been his fault. That throw a little bit behind, but that's one hits the hands. Pylon's got to pull that in. Both offenses scuffling here to start. We've got 2:11 left to play here in the first quarter. Ball on the 40-yard line here in a 4th and 5. Offense will stay on the field here for the Falcons. Eli Kemple kind of splitting out as that tight end. Oh, they're going to punt here. That's Hall, the quarterback, who will punt it away. And down by Lucas Wadke here. The Panthers will start with the ball on their half of the field for the first time, as they will take over here on their own 31 with 2 minutes left to play here in the first quarter. Well, in fact, spotted at the 34, the official spot of the ball here for Spring Lake Park. All right, see if the Panthers can get something going offensively tonight. They had the big special teams play, one big 20-yard run by Brown, but still looking for points despite the fantastic field position tonight. Jameer Hill-Smith snaps it back here to Roach. Quick pitch as he was under pressure, and falling on top of it was Jackson Rice. Johnny on the spot there. Roach rushed that pitch kind of before Rice was in a ready position to corral it, but good instincts here by Rice. Tipped off his hands and he fell on top of the football and secured it for Spring Lake Park. It'll be a loss on the play, dropping the Panthers back to the 26. John Stewart is the head coach of the Panthers. We mentioned back in 2016 he was the offensive coordinator for Jeff Sleeve. Longtime assistant for 15 seasons before he took over as the head coach now in year number 8. Roach under pressure. Roach trying to step up in that pocket, and he's going to be driven way back. Number 95, Savion Robinson, will pick up the sack here for Armstrong as he finished off the play. So the line of scrimmage up there at the 34, but losses here on consecutive plays by Spring Lake Park have dropped him back to the 17. That was an 11-yard loss by Roach on the play. And the Panthers going to give it to Lamari Brown, and still nothing doing for Spring Lake Park. Well, we mentioned this is a talented Panthers team, but we speculated at the beginning this was going to be their stiffest test of the year yet, out to this 4-0 start, and that's proven to be true. 3-1 Robbinsdale Armstrong, who dropped out of the top 10 rankings with a 1-possession loss to Buffalo last week. And they are proven plenty for the Panthers to handle here, as SLP will see if they let this clock wind down to the end of the first quarter. They will, and will head into the break. A defensive battle. Panthers have the ball, 4th down coming up, and likely to punt it away when we come back. Scoreless first quarter here in Class 5A football between the Panthers and the Falcons. Back after this on North Metro TV.
Lino Lakes is the gateway to the metro area, just minutes north of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Conveniently located on I-35W, this growing city still maintains its North Country feel. Lino Lakes is a safe, fun, and affordable community that values its award-winning schools. Outdoor lovers will discover miles of hiking, biking, and water trails. Growing businesses will find premier development opportunities with great freeway visibility and ready to help your businesses grow. Come to live, work, and play in Lino Lakes.
Spring Lake Park punting it away here in a little squibber that's going to get out near the 45. And good field position here for Armstrong, but a flag on the play here. We'll see what's coming down from John Andre and his crew. That's the umpire, Pete Schutte, who our head referee John Andre's talking to. Believe we've got 3 brothers on this officiating crew. Matthew Andre, James Andre, and then Alyssa Brian Jeffries.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker on the Falcons.
All right, well, the Panthers are backed up to 4th and forever. But that's going to be an automatic first down on the roughing the kicker call going against Robbinsdale Armstrong. That's what the PA announcer announced it as. I think this is, yeah, first down. So what a mistake here for Robbinsdale Armstrong. 1st and 10 from their own 28. After the 15-yard penalty for roughing the punter. Roach under center with Mitchell dotting the I. Monluo, the back in motion, will get it. Monluo spun down in the backfield for a loss. Looked like he got initially tripped up by Cal Pylon. Jack Welters swung him down in the tandem tackle, the senior inside linebacker. Monluo dropped back 2 on his second carry of the day. And this will bring up 2nd down and 12 here for Spring Lake Park. Monluo and Brown are just off the offensive line as the wingbacks. Marquel Mitchell is the fullback. Slinging it down to Conkler. That's just outstanding pass coverage. Cyree Shannon Terrell leaping in to bat that away. And as a guy that couldn't catch myself, you love to see some good defensive back play. And Shannon Tyrell timed the leap perfectly for the pass breakup. And again, we are still looking for our first pass completion in this game, and it's not due to lack of trying. Roach is 0 for 5 today. A couple of Spring Lake Park drops that have loomed large. And this will bring up 3rd down and 12. Handoff. Oh, getting loose here is Mitchell up the left side. Here goes Marquel Mitchell. He is free down the end zone, and Mitchell finds Pater. Touchdown, Spring Lake Park. 73 yards for Marquel Mitchell to break the seal here at homecoming at SLP. Mitchell with his 4th rushing touchdown of the year, and finally the Panther fans with something to cheer about. Well, go figure. Spring Lake Park, all the great drives they had that started inside Armstrong territory amounted to nothing. And then one play where at one point they were backed up just outside their own 10 on 4th and long. One crucial penalty by Armstrong, and then Marquel Mitchell makes one cut, gets a good block from Lamari Brown, and the sophomore does this. 73 yards to the house for Marquel Mitchell. And the Panthers lead it 7-0 here early in the 2nd quarter.
Let's go. We're going to get out. Let's go. Way to call Welch. Way to call that go. Hey, Welch. I told you.
Well, Mitchell, I mean, he has really emerged as a great second running back in this offense with Lamari Brown, and his first varsity season has been terrific. We talked with John Stewart a little bit before the matchup this week, and he said Marquel Mitchell, just a horse. Nice kid, coachable, and he has put in the work to be playing here on Friday nights as a sophomore. Well deserved for him here on homecoming at SLP. As the kick is away, it's going to be fielded by DeLine. He's going to get swung down by the Panthers after crossing the 25. They might spot it at about the 26 here. Marcus Schneider, one of the safeties for the Panthers, in on special teams with the tackle. And we'll see how Robbinsdale Armstrong responds against this tough as nails Spring Lake Park defense that have played outstanding. Cade Skelly rallying up the troops. You see big number 77 Brody Gemlow, one of the standouts, a 6'4", 290-pound D tackle. The defensive coordinator for the Panthers is Dalton Olinger in his 3rd season, and his squad are humming, and they are a big reason the Panthers are out to this 4-0 start. I mean, they're the reason the Panthers are leading this game right now. As the first carry will go to Ben Francis of this series, and he'll get a yard or 2 on the play, call it 2, and it'll be 2nd down and 8. Slant route, DeLine. Hall hauls it in for the first catch of the day here for Robbinsdale Armstrong. Cade Skelly with the tackle. DeLine's 20th catch of the season. 14-yard catch there by DeLine. And it snaps a streak of 5 straight incompletions by the quarterback Gabe Hall, but a couple of big drops on this Falcon. And there's Brody Gemlow swallowing the running back Francis in the backfield. Well, he's got quite the highlight reel the last few years on the defensive line. A starter since a sophomore. You got to find somebody to block him. Brody Gemlow in untouched to swing down Francis here for a loss of 2. Right now, that Armstrong offensive line are probably saying, hey, somebody block that guy. Here's the high snap, hauled in by Hall. He's going to get sacked. Another explosive play from the Spring Lake Park defense. Chase Warner with his team-leading 5th sack of the season. I mean, when you talk about Spring Lake Park and you ask, all right, who's playing well in the defense? Who's not playing well on this defense right now? We've called out a whole host of names, and Chase Warner, the 5'9", 169-pound senior, the latest, with a big-time play here for the Panthers. Drop back Hall for a loss of over 10+. Calling commands down the sideline. Nice leaping catch attempt there by DeLine. Nice job of the help coverage there by Colin Welch to close in and break that up on the sideline. Now Welch, he does a nice job. He wasn't looking back at the ball, but kind of waited to see DeLine's eyes light up and go up for the ball at the same time as the receiver. PBU, and it's going to bring up 4th and long here for Armstrong. Daly on to punt it away. The man back deep is Colin Welch. He'll let it drop, field it off a couple of hops here near the 25. Welch cutting it back up for Spring Lake Park before he's forced out at the 35 here in Panther territory. So Robbinsdale Armstrong have been forced to punt on all 4 possessions. The Panther defense have thrown together 2 3-and-outs today, and Spring Lake Park leading at 7-0. And yeah, that tells you all you need to know about the offense today. 2 first downs for Robbinsdale Armstrong, and the Panthers didn't need a first down when Marquel Mitchell ripped off a 73-yard run for a touchdown. Panthers looking for a little bit more consistency here in offense with a few kind of medium chunk plays. They'll hand it off to Mitchell. He tries to bounce it outside if there wasn't much room up the middle. Tackle made by Jack Welters, the inside linebacker, a senior for Armstrong. Mitchell able to grind out a couple of yards there. Outside of the 73-yard touchdown run, Mitchell in his 3 other carries has gained 2 yards. Really, it's been 2 big runs for the Panthers and nothing else otherwise. Brown the 20-yard run, Mitchell the 73-yard tutty. Here they'll go off to Brown. As we say that, this is Mitchell up the middle. He'll cross the 50 and get it into Armstrong territory. That's what we said. The Panthers needing some more consistent runs here for some chunk plays, and Marquel Mitchell obliges here for SLP. That'll get Spring Lake Park to the 45. So a 19-yard carry there for Mitchell. And he's nearly to 100 yards tonight already. Here with 7.5 minutes left to go until the first half. Our count 94 on the card. Here's Roach, and he throws it away as he's hit. Incomplete pass as he got ridden down by Cal Pylon. And good pursuit by this Armstrong defense. Everett Daly kind of laying out. It was a very difficult play. He was laying on top of that. That was clearly a forward pass, but you got to treat every ball on the turf like it's a loose ball, and Daly first to the floor there. 2nd down and 10 coming up here for Spring Lake Park. Roach still looking for his first completion in the passing game. That's really been a big element for Spring Lake Park this year. They have thrown the ball really well through the air, and Roach, a dangerous pitch. That's going to be a fumble, and it looks like it's been recovered by Spring Lake Park. Wow, what a save by E.J. Monluo to race back to the 45. There were 3 or 4 Armstrong players sniffing for it, and Roach, just kind of a scramble as he was going down, tried to pitch it off late. That is a huge play by E.J. Monluo. He's going to take a loss of about 10 on that play, but if he doesn't get to that, it is trouble for Spring Lake Park, who called a timeout here to settle things down. Well, Spring Lake Park got to this fantastic start, 4-0 to start the year for the first time in 9 years, and there was a massive shakeup in the Class 5A poll this week. St. Thomas Academy beat Chanhassen, the previous #1, to lead them up in the rankings. You had 3 of the top 4 from last week all go down, so that saw St. Thomas Academy, Chaska, and Spring Lake Park all rise in the rankings. Chaska throttled #4 Mankato East last week to drop the Cougars in the standings as well too. And it is a really fun Class 5A field, and the Panthers hoping it's going to result in them making a run back to the state tournament, and maybe even a run to the semifinals and beyond at US Bank Stadium. They have not been to state, the Panthers, since 2019. They've made back-to-back trips in the first 2 years after John Stewart got elevated to the head coaching job, but they have been right on the doorstep ever since. They've been in the section title game in 5 of the last 7 years. Lost to Monticello, a win shy of the state tournament last year. Roach getting back to fire it. Kalen Truckenbrod hauls in the catch. It's going to be pass interference even if that wasn't called, but Christopher Nordbein, who was the corner in coverage, was trying to say that wasn't caught. It's either going to be a 15-yard gain or the full gain there on the catch by Truckenbrod if they'll say that he hauled it in. If he didn't, though, I think they're going to call pass interference. Oh, they're calling roughing the passer on the defense there. So they will tack that on another 15 yards from the end of the play. Everett Daly, you see, coming in on the blind side and knocking down Roach. So that'll move it all the way from the 45 to the 20. So a 20-yard catch by Kalen Truckenbrod, plus the 15 yards tacked on. And the Panthers in business here, 1st and 10 from their own 20. Lamari Brown dotting the I's, the fullback. Brown will slash forward here for a gain of 3 or 4 for number 45. Now, been a tough night for Brown, but he will not mind as long as his buddy, the sophomore, Marquel Mitchell's going off, and as long as the Panthers come away with a win here tonight on homecoming to go to 5-0. And there we go. The penalty differential has been a huge factor in this game. Spring Lake Park football, more often than not, mistake-free football, and that's been one of the differentiating factors in the game tonight. 5-yard gain from Brown. Roach will keep it, pitch it. Monluo's got the edge. Monluo to the pylon. Touchdown, Spring Lake Park. 15 yards for E.J. Monluo. Well, he had the huge play earlier in the drive to recover a fumble, and he's rewarded with a 15-yard touchdown, notching what for him is his first rushing touchdown of the season. E.J. Monluo doubles the advantage for Spring Lake Park here in homecoming. Roach is the holder. Sam Wold is the sophomore kicker. He gets it away, and he's 2 for 2 on PATs here tonight. 14-0. Spring Lake Park here on the 15-yard run from E.J. Monluo. Well, the Panthers sold the fake well in that triple option look. Roach kept it. A few of the Falcons were swarming to Lamari Brown, the fullback, up the middle, and that opened up the outside for the speedy E.J. Monluo. Monluo might be the fastest guy on the team. He doesn't have, he's told us, kind of his scouting report, he doesn't have the quick cut ability like Lamari Brown does, but going point to point in a straight line, he might be the fastest guy on the field here tonight. And E.J. Monluo makes it 14-0 Spring Lake Park. And this is why the Panthers are number 3 in the state. Lamari Brown, it's not been his night, but the Panthers are cooking regardless. 14-0 after a slow start. They've gotten the offense going here in the second quarter to score their 2 touchdowns. 6 minutes left to go before half as they'll give it back. There's Sam Wold, the sophomore kicker. We'll send it away for the Panthers here on the kick. This one fielded by DeLine, and he is wrestled down by a whole pack of Panthers. Marcus Schneider has been involved a lot on special teams, starting safety and the punter for Spring Lake Park. Just call him the Swiss Army knife, number 4 for John Stewart's Panthers down there. Not to mention the backup quarterback on the depth chart right now for SLP. 1st and 10 here as Armstrong will start this drive from their own 14. They have punted on their first 4 possessions of the night. High snap. That is going to tip off the fingertips of Hall and fall to the running back, but he's going to quickly be sticked down here by a couple of Panthers in the backfield. Ben Francis with a carry. And Aaron Olson getting in on the tackle. I thought I heard some moans from the Panther fans below us. There was some laundry thrown down on the field. I didn't see it. There's the rest of our crew, including the down judge, Alyssa Bryan Jeffries, talking with John Andre there about what she saw. 5:43 to go. Panthers thought they had a loss and a tackle in the backfield. A 15-yard penalty on a personal foul going against the Panthers. So it'll move the chains here for Armstrong. I believe just the Falcons' 2nd first down today. 14-0. Spring Lake Park looking for a stop here to take a 2-touchdown lead at least going into the break. Here's Hall. Pocket collapsing. Brody Gemlow swings him down here for SLP. 2nd sack by the Spring Lake Park defense here tonight, and the first from big number 77. He was pretty big when he was a sophomore, and he has added a little extra muscle in the 2 years since then, the senior. He's going to be playing at the next level somewhere next year. Panthers have a lot of guys getting some D2, D3 looks to play at the next level. Here is Ben Francis after the loss. We'll get back to the original line of scrimmage and then some. From about the 31 to the 40, Cade Skelly with a tackle. And call that a spot at the 44 for a gain of about 12. And a keeper by Hall, and he's wrapped up again. Aaron Olson, he's had a big day in that defensive line for Spring Lake Park. Loss of 1 or 2 here on the keeper by Hall. Olson started it. Number 1 Sawyer Thompson came in and finished it. Fourth down here for the Falcons. 7 to go. Inside 4 minutes left to go here in the half. As Panther defense have been dominant. They have held the Falcons to just 2 first downs tonight. Going to have a timeout taken here by Jack Negan and Armstrong. They've still got 2 remaining, so no harm in taking it here late in the half. And on a quick tally, and again by my unofficial book, 38 minus some change. I mean, the Falcons right now are hovering and I think are slightly in negative territory in terms of yards gained here tonight. It has been that overwhelmingly dominant for Spring Lake Park's defense tonight. Pitching a shutout here nearly to halftime, and Armstrong have moved in the opposite direction more than they've gone forward here tonight. Some of the drops in the passing game have loomed large, and really neither team has consistently been moving the chains tonight, but a couple of big plays from the Spring Lake Park running game have been the difference. 73-yard touchdown run from the Panthers sophomore Marquel Mitchell, and a 15-yard run by E.J. Monluo. Welch has had a big return already tonight. He'll cut it back and gets past the 40, forced out just shy of the midfield line by Robbinsdale Armstrong. And again, with Colin Welch providing the spark, the Panthers will have good field position here and plenty of time to get in range here for another score late in the first half. How about the swim move here from Colin Welch? This guy's got a bag of tricks and the blistering speed. I don't know, we might have to line him and E.J. Monluo up against each other for a 100-meter dash at the end of this one. Talking about who the fastest guy in the field is here tonight. Throw Welch's hat in the ring. Panther offense will start it at the 47 in their own territory. That one out of the reach to Conkler. Caden Conkler, apologies, we already called him Kalen once. His older brother, Keelan, a Spring Lake Park alum from recent history, class of 2024. He's now a redshirt freshman at the University of Sioux Falls, playing some D2 ball in the Northern Sun. And Caden, a good sophomore here for Spring Lake Park, 6'2", 181-pound receiver here tonight. Still looking for his first catch. Roach barking out the orders, hands it off to Mitchell up the chute. Mitchell still on his feet. The ball came out. Did Armstrong recover it? They did. Falcons wrestle that one away from Mitchell. Cal Pylon comes up with it for the Falcons. Spring Lake Park with a fumble on the second play of this drive. Pylon came in, lodged it loose with the shoulder tackle, and he was the one that recovered it. So we'll see what the Falcons can do with it, but this could be a major momentum swing in this game. Mitchell with a fumble, 2 plays into a drive that started at the Panther 47. And Armstrong has it here in Panther territory. Fake on the handoff. Hall will keep it up the middle. And he's dropped down here by Aaron Olson. We did not have Aaron Olson on our spotting board, but number 53 has been really heavily featured tonight up on that Panther D-line. We talked with John Stewart leading into the week, and maybe the deepest position on the field for Spring Lake Park this year is defensive line. They have been rolling 7, 8 guys deep all year if needed, as that was nearly intercepted by Jamal Smith. It fell incomplete. Smith was trying to shimmy his way around the left tackle Jackson Johnson, and let's see a second look at that. I think he had a shot at an interception there, and Smith still shaking his head. He thought he did too. Ooh, that was in and out of the hands there of Smith. Nice job by Jackson Johnson, the left tackle, kind of playing D-back there to knock that one free. Been a tough night in the passing game for Hall. He's able to slip it off here to Ben Francis. He'll slash forward for a couple of yards here to set up 4th down and medium. 7th carry for Francis. He's been held to 18 yards by this stout Panther defense. Jamal Smith on the edge, Braden Hemquist, number 85, and your 2 starting D tackles, Sawyer Johnson and Brody Gemlow. But as we've said, it has mostly been a steady diet of Aaron Olson, number 53, in there instead tonight. Inside 2 minutes left to go, and the timeout's going to be taken here by Jack Nagan and the Falcons. That'll be their 2nd timeout used. 14-0. Spring Lake Park leads it behind the strength of 2 second quarter SLP touchdowns. Marquell Mitchell with a 73-yard tote to open up the scoring for Spring Lake Park, and then a 15-yard carry by E.J. Monluo. And whatever type of moon we got tonight, we're redubbing it. It's a Panther moon tonight. Here on homecoming, under the lights at Spring Lake Park, and just about as full as you can get that home grandstand here in the 5th game of the season. Only the 2nd home game, unusually for Spring Lake Park, who've had to get out to that 4-0 start with 3 wins on the road. Throttled Two Rivers 34-14 in week 1, dropped Irondale here at home on the 5th 35-0 in the battle for the block. 55-18, 42-12 in the 2 road wins at Park Center and at Cambridge Isani Sense. Hall fires down the field. It's caught. Farrell D-line on a 4th and 4 play takes it in for the touchdown. A 41-yard pass on 4th and 4, and the Falcons have life here late in the first half. Second catch for Farrell DeLine, and he hauls one in for 41 yards for the touchdown, and it's down to a 1-score game here before the break. Well, the fumble for the Panthers looms large, and all the missed opportunities SLP had inside enemy territory early in this game where they didn't convert in the first quarter. And the extra point is going to be driven through the sticks there by Noah Miller. And it is now a 7-point game. DeLine beating his man down the right side. No safety help for Ian Holland, and there's your big receiving threat for the Falcons. He's got the 2 catches tonight and now total 55 yards receiving. Great athlete, and we chatted with Jack Nagan a little bit before this matchup, and he said his wide receiver room, probably the strength of this team offensively. That's where you've got a lot of the returning state tournament experience from those receivers, and all of them kind of bring different elements to the wide receiver position, but DeLine is their guy who he said he just kind of goes up and gets it. He might be their most explosive, kind of athletic wide receiver in terms of just going up and getting the football. So the Falcons get one back. The Panthers will have a chance to run some 2-minute drill here to see if they can get points back before the break. The kickoff is taken by Moses Kamara. We mentioned at the start of the broadcast, a soccer player who's got 12 goals this season for the Falcons on the pitch. Here's Colin Welch with a convoy ahead for Spring Lake Park, and Colin Welch is going to find his way into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers! Colin Welch, no flags. He answers back to erase the Armstrong tally. Well, a little bit of redemption for Colin Welch after he nearly took back the opening kickoff in this ball game for a touchdown and kind of lost his footing at the 20 to come up short. But he takes this one to the house, and it's going to be 21-7 Panthers pending the extra point. Sam Wold's drive is good. And it's back to a 2-score lead here for Spring Lake Park. Where'd Welch field this one? We'll call it 99 yards as he had his back heels nearly to the end zone there for Spring Lake Park. Wow. That's the first touchdown he's run back on a kickoff this year. And Spring Lake Park getting a big boost from Welch and their special teams tonight. When you're perusing the box score later, don't forget to check the return yards. Colin Welch, I mean, he's nearly put together 200 yards rushing on the field on kick returns alone. And everybody over there on the Panthers sideline showing him some love. Hey, catch your breath, Colin. You've earned it. Minute and a half left to play. Welch has put the Panthers back up 2 scores with a monster return. 99 yards to the house. Panthers will kick it away here with Sam Wold and a little squibber. Going to be fielded off the turf by number 4, Mason Anderson. One of the starting wide receivers for Robbinsdale Armstrong tonight. 90 seconds left to go because the Panthers took the kickoff right back. Armstrong still have some time here to get within striking distance and throw some points on the board here. Make it potentially back to a 1-score game with a 2-minute drill. A flag on the play here as Hall is racing out, and he gets thumped down there by Sawyer Thompson. We'll see if this one's coming back here for the Falcons, though. That's going to be holding against the Falcon offense. And that'll set them back 10 yards here. Yeah, holds. Yeah, I think they're just going to get it. Could have been a horse collar there on number 54. That's the left tackle, Jackson Johnson, with the holds. So first down and 20 here for Armstrong. They're now backed up just past the 20 and not going to get much here in the rush up the middle with Ben Francis. 4-yard gain there for Francis. Jake Dunbar makes the tackle. And second down and 17 here coming up after the 3-yard gain. There are so many familiar names on this Panther team, and you had that great class of 2026 that all came up together, and a lot of sophomores were regular players for Coach John Stewart. Just a couple of years ago, that class, of course, headlined by Lamari Brown, Brody Gemlow, among others. Nix with the carry that time for Robbinsdale Armstrong. That'll be a 13-yard gain for Nix. And he's got 35 on the day. Flags flying. I mean, there's a second left on the clock. That's going to basically take us to the half here. False start called against the Falcons. So Armstrong had totaled north of 40 yards on penalties alone here, and that has been a big factor in the half. The Panthers with the 1 turnover in the game, but they have not been penalized much, and it has been a half, not a perfect football, but it has been good enough here for Spring Lake Park so far. And 2 big plays the difference. A kickoff return for Colin Welch, a 70-plus yard run for Mitchell, and the Panthers student section with plenty to cheer about here in homecoming, with SLP leading at 21-7 at the half as we leave you here for the break on North Metro TV.
And now, we'd like to welcome the Spring Lake Park dance team. Every year, we're talking about Patriots dance team. Let's hear it for the God-Given 2025 dance routine.
back here at Panthers Stadium, and this first half was like a good barbecue. You can't just get straight into the entree and go meat all the time. You get a nice little coleslaw for a side, and that was our first quarter when these two teams were trading early blows. Defenses were dominant. We're going to pick up the highlights in the second quarter. That's when you got to the pulled pork. And Marquel Mitchell took it 73 yards when the Panthers had done virtually nothing on offense to get them out to the 7-0 lead. They would double that advantage, a little end-around toss to E.J. Monluo, the homecoming king representative, doubling the Panther lead here on homecoming night. It was 14-0. Well, snapping out a play out of the jaws of defeat, and Armstrong would get back with a 41-yard catch. Colin Welch nearly returned the first kickoff of the game for the touchdown, but stumbled at the 20. He would not miss on the second go-around. He was crowned on the sideline after returning 199 yards for the touchdown to answer back from the Armstrong score. And the Panthers have a 2-possession lead here going in to the second half. The Falcons won the toss and deferred to the second half before this game started, so Armstrong with a chance to answer back and make this a 1-possession game as they'll have the first possession of the second half. Matt Dean with you here for North Metro TV. It's been a fun one here tonight. A packed crowd here on a Friday night in Spring Lake Park for homecoming. Shout out to our great crew led by Ted LaRue, our director in the truck. Also with Ted in the truck, we got A.V. Becker, Joe Hoyley, and Preston Schultz. Our camera operators tonight for NMTV, Ben Thornton, Tim Shingen, Matt Rashavi, and Rob Clark, bringing you all the action here on homecoming night from Spring Lake Park. So really, it's been 3 explosive plays that have kind of changed this game. Robbinsdale Armstrong only totaled 77 yards in the first half. 41 of those came in the touchdown catch that you saw Gabe Hall connecting with his top receiver, Pharrell DeLine. And the Panthers had only 134 yards of offense, but they added a kick return, 99 yards for the touchdown you saw from Welch. 73 of those 134 yards came in the touchdown run from Marquel Mitchell, the sophomore. So these two teams had 2 first downs each in the first half. Defenses were dominant for the most part. And Spring Lake Park will hope for more of the same as they'll put their defense out on the field here. The kick is going to bounce out of bounds here. That will draw the flag as that one was driven wide and out of play by Sam Wold, the sophomore kicker. So they'll assess the penalty from the spot that it went out of bounds. And it looks like Robbinsdale Armstrong are going to set up shop here at the 35 to start the first possession of the second half. All right, so here comes Spring Lake Park's defense. As we said, really that touchdown they allowed in the first half is basically the 3rd touchdown all season that Spring Lake Park's first team defense has given up. Spring Lake Park gave up a few touchdowns in the second half of a blowout in week 2 at Park Center. And the other 2 touchdowns this year have been given up on special teams. They have been a dominant group, allowing 11 points per game on average. The Panthers were coming into this game out to the 4-0 start. First time the Panthers have been 4-0 since the Prep Bowl team from 2016. And Brody Gemlow setting the tone here to start the half for Spring Lake Park. He's into the backfield to meet the running back Ben Francis before that play could get started. I mean, Gemlow just thrashed his way through a couple of offensive linemen and drove Francis back there. But they're going to assess a penalty here on Spring Lake Park, and it's going to move the chains for Armstrong anyway. That's a 15-yard penalty for a face mask on SLP. They had just 3 penalties for 35 yards in the first half. fake the handoff to Francis. On the keeper, Jamal Smith will tackle Gabe Hall here. Gain of, they'll call it 2 here for Hall. He rushed for negative yardage in the first half. As we said, outside of that one big passing play to DeLine, Armstrong did virtually nothing offensively. They averaged fewer than 3 yards per carry, only 32 yards rushing, with a lot of big plays and tackles for loss for the Panther defense in the first half. Gain of 2, little late pitch, and Jamal Smith, he was all over the play. He couldn't finish off the tackle of Eli Kemple for a loss, but his teammates, including safety Marcus Schneider, will do so after a meager gain of maybe 1 here in the rush by Kemple. They're going to say no gain on the play as Kemple got it to the original line of scrimmage. Wide receiver kind of coming around in the end around. Smith almost blew it up for the loss. Gain is 0 here in a 3rd down and 8 coming up here for Robbinsdale Armstrong. They punted in their first 5 possessions of the half. The first 3 were 3 and outs, and it's the 3rd Panthers sack of the day. Brody Gemlow gets in on his 2nd individually. Well, this Panther defense have impressed. And Brody Gemlow with his 2nd sack today. He had just 1 on the season coming in. That's not the position, the D tackle. That's a guy that's typically going to rack up a lot of sacks, but Gemlow doing it tonight as he drops Hall back for another loss. And Armstrong will be forced to punt, their 3rd 3 and out possession already here tonight. Welch, who had the 2 big kick returns, fielding the punt here for Spring Lake Park. A stiff arm will allow him to beat the first man and get to the 30, but a flag by the back judge. And this is probably going against Spring Lake Park here on the return. Block in the back, you see the call for Spring Lake Park, and the Panthers, it'll push them back here from their own 21-yard line. So that's for the first Panther drive of the 2nd half starts, and a chance here for the Panthers to make a statement. Again, looking for more consistency. The Panthers got it done in the first half, but they were not consistently moving the ball. Only 2 first downs in the entire first half. Marquell Mitchell had the big carry for 73 yards. He's lined up as the fullback, and they pitch it out to E.J. Monluo. A lot of the defenders bit on the bait there in the triple option. Nice play by Dylan Gillis, the senior safety, who did not take the bait and blew up E.J. Monluo for a loss on the play. Monluo had one of the 2 rushing touchdowns for the Panthers in the first half. Gillis, a 5'11", 155-pound senior. He was noted as being one of the leaders in that secondary for Robbinsdale Armstrong, a 2nd-year varsity player. That is a 6-yard loss for Monluo on the play. Dropping back now is Roach. Looks out of the out route, and that's going to be hauled in by Spring Lake Park's Lamari Brown for the completion. So Lamari Brown finding some ways to get him involved here in the offense. He did not have a good first half in terms of rushing, but they will move Brown around. They'll play a little fullback. They'll put him out of the wing, and he can run out and catch passes as an aerial threat as well, too. 16-yard catch there for Lamari Brown. 2nd completion for Roach through the air tonight. And the Panthers have their first down of the half. It's Mitchell lined up as the fullback. They will tuck it off to Mitchell, slanting to his left. And he was brought down from behind by number 5 for Robbinsdale Armstrong, Eli Kemple, the outside backer. Mitchell able to slash his way forward for a 3-yard pickup. And he's inching toward what will be his third 100-yard rushing performance in 5 games to start the year. He went off for 100+ in week 1 at 2 Rivers. Crossed the century mark again last week in the win at Cambridge Isani. And Mitchell's going to stay just shy of 100 there as he falls forward for maybe a yard or 2. They'll give him 2. And in our book, that's going to put him at 99 on the night. It will set up 3rd down and 5 for the Panthers. And a team near the 40 right here. The Panthers pretty aggressive on 4th down. They are looking to pick up, you know, kind of 3, maybe 4 here at least, and then they'll go for it on 4th. Might anyway. They're going to draw a false start. They're going to draw an offside here in the defense. That looked like one of the defenders jumping first. Officials will get together and confirm it here. It looks like one of those defensive tackles leapt off the line first from up here. We'll see what the call is from the head referee. Yep, offside. It was, yep, the D tackle, number 90, Elijah Woods, who jumped offside. That'll move the chains for Spring Lake Park. Ten-yard penalty. Second first down for the Panthers on this drive. That was all the first downs the Panthers had in the first half, remember. Roach looking to pass, floats it, single coverage, Truckenbrod with the catch, on his feet, end zone, touchdown Panthers. Kalen Truckenbrod goes 59 yards through the air with a catch and score, and Spring Lake Park scores on their first possession of the second half to go up 3 scores. First touchdown of the year for Kalen Truckenbrod, who hauled in 2 touchdown catches as a junior last season. And Nolan Roach finds his big tight end. And Sam Wold, the sophomore, finds the target here for the extra point. It's 28-7. We told you in the open, Spring Lake Park have been going to the air more than we've seen in recent years. 135 yards per game passing on average this year, and that is a really good number for a Spring Lake Park team that are primarily going to get it done on the ground. And Truckenbrod with his first touchdown of the year. Nolan Roach, his quarterback, fired up over there on the sideline. 28-7 Spring Lake Park. Truckenbrod a commit to Division III UW-Platteville, and he is the first of likely to be several Panthers who are going to have the chance to play some college football next year. A lot of Division II, Division III interests swirling around this Panther team. And I think we might have a few guys go the Northern Sun route, local Division II league with a lot of good football, where you can stay close to home and play in the region. You see some Panthers from this really good team playing at the next level. There is DeLine, who's got the touchdown tonight for Armstrong. He's got the return out to about the 30. He has stood up. I'm surprised the whistle didn't come earlier. And I think that was the argument that Jack Negan was making over there in the Armstrong sideline. Usually you see a scrum like that pile up, and they're going to whistle the dead almost immediately. And it'll be spotted at the 29. No, they'll move it up to the 30 here for Robbinsdale Armstrong. And the Falcons coming off 3 straight state tournament appearances, but a lot to replace from last year with kind of a new identity for this Armstrong team. They lost last year's Strib Player of the Year and a Mr. Football finalist from their offense in Kevon Johnson. He was 3rd in the state with 2,143 rushing yards last year. Ben Francis will take the toe here out to the right. And again, no running room with the big man, Brody Gemlow, standing in his way. He also had Keegan Alleman-Poppy, 6'2", 197-pound senior, wearing number 44, getting in the way. And Cade Skelly with a nose for the football as well, too, in the gang tackle. No gain on the rush by Francis. He was limited to just over 20 yards in the first half. Junior tailback. 2nd and 10. Hall design QB run. He is wrapped down by Jake Dunbar. 3rd-year varsity starter at linebacker, and Dunbar always been a little bit of an undersized guy at the position, but he plays a lot bigger than his listed weight. 6'1", 182. Dunbar getting back there and disrupting from the inside linebacker spot. How about back-to-back no-gain rushes here by this Armstrong team? 3rd down and 10. Hall out of the shotgun. Looks to throw. Little slant route to the right. Wadkey dropped it. He could hear the footsteps coming for the Panther defender in on coverage. It has been a tough night offensively, really, for both teams. The Panthers have had the 2 big plays. It's been an especially tough night here for Robbinsdale Armstrong. That was Sawyer Thompson waiting to wrap him up after the catch. It'll be 4th and 10. And Armstrong will change out some personnel here and bring the punter Everett Daly onto the field here for Armstrong High. Well, these 2 teams haven't met in a while. A lot of restructuring in the Panthers section this year. They're only playing 2 teams, the Panthers, this year that they played last season, and those 2 are already in the book. Park Center and Irondale, who the Panthers repeated wins against this year. Everybody else is pretty new. Last time the Panthers and the Falcons met up was 4 years ago. Spring Lake Park won 27-7 in the regular season finale. That was here in 2021. Former Panther quarterback Braden Talso threw for 70 yards and a passing touchdown on that one. Also rushed for 86 and had 2 scores on the ground for Coach Stewart. That was the last time that SLP and Armstrong played. They used to be regular foes, playing every year from 2014 to 2019. SLP owning the series 5 games to 2 during that stretch dating back to 2010. But it has been 4 years since these 2 teams have played. Panthers going to get charged for a false start here to back them up 5 yards, 1st and 15. Third quarter here. Panthers getting the ball back on offense for the 2nd time here since the break. Drive that starts at the 24 here on the Panther ends. The last drive resulted in a 59-yard passing touchdown for Nolan Roach to Kalen Truckenbrod. Roach with a QB keeper here and is going to inch forward a couple of yards here for Spring Lake Park, setting up 2nd down and 12.
Second down and 13.
We'll call it 2nd and 13. Monluo, Brown, and Marquell Mitchell lined up as the running backs here. The flex bone triple option, new to this Spring Lake Park offense this year. Up the gut with Mitchell. He'll drag a couple of tacklers with him. Advance past the 30. It's going to set up a relatively short 3rd down here coming up. They will spot it 2 yards shy of the marker, so a 10-yard carry there for Mitchell. That gets him to over 100 on the day. His 3rd career varsity game crossing the century mark in 5 tries for Marquell Mitchell. What a start he's had in his varsity career. Roach back up at the line here, calls for the snap, handed it off to Mitchell. Mitchell up the shoot. And Mitchell picks up the first down, and plenty extra for Spring Lake Park. Nine-yard gain for Mitchell, and he is starting to pick up some heavy yards here up the middle for SLP. Mitchell, entering play today, was averaging 8 yards per carry. He has got 118 on 9 totes here tonight. He's averaging better than 10 per rush as they throw it out to Lamari Brown in the flat. And Brown hasn't found his usual running room in the ground game tonight, but he has plenty content here to be a big contributor in the passing game. Hauls in his second catch. He'll pick up the first down here for SLP. That is a 12-yard pickup on the catch for Brown. And Nolan Roach now with 4 completions. And he's 4 of 8 through the air tonight. He had come in completing nearly 70% of his passes, remember. And Mitchell up the middle, finds some room, gets to the second level. And this is more like the Spring Lake Park offense we're used to seeing. That big offensive line starting to wear down this Armstrong defense, who were so stout against the Panthers in the first half, particularly in the first quarter. But a holding call is going to erase that gain by Mitchell and back up the Panthers here, and they'll replay the first down. They get the hold maybe on 75 there. They say he hung on to the blocker too long. Maybe Jackson Drum, the left guard. The 3 interior linemen are all returning starters. The 2 guards, Gavin Christensen, 71, Drum, 75, 3-year starters up on the offensive line. You cannot talk about O-line play enough and how important it is to this Panther team. Roach out to the right side on the QB keeper across the 40, and plenty there to make it a 2nd and short here, just short of the line to gain for the Panthers. Now they will give him the first down here, and Roach picking up the Panther first down, getting him beyond the 40 into the 37. That is a 24-yard carry for Roach. That'll get him back into positive territory. 2.5 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. Back to the well, and Marquel Mitchell up the middle. Slashes forward for a gain of about 3 or 4 here between the tackles. Call it 4 for Mitchell. 28-7 Panthers still driving, and a 2nd down and 6 coming up here for SLP. Rushing offense for the Panthers was averaging 280+ yards per game. They had rushed for at least 249 in each of their first 4 wins to start the year. They had 114 on the ground by our count in the first half. Monluo on the end-around run right side. Limited to a gain here in the tackle by Welters. Monluo will get a pair. And ball spotted at the 31 with 4 to go here on 3rd down for the Panthers. Jackson Rice in as one of the wingbacks. And on the run here, they'll give it to Jonathan Smith. His first carry of the day. They'll gain 1. And it's going to set up 4th down and 3. They'll give him 2, and it's 4th down and 2. So a little bit of a personnel swap here. They brought in Jonathan Smith, the 5'10 180-pound senior. He'll come out, just one play off for Marquel Mitchell. I think Mitchell was the guy who lost his helmet on the play prior, so he had to come out. Mitchell's back in at fullback. Jackson Rice, the right wingback. Monluo on the left side. They'll go back to Mitchell. He is met at the line of scrimmage. Good push up there by Cal Pylon, the outside linebacker. Panthers going to come up short on the 4th and 2 on no gain. And it'll be a turnover on downs here by the Panthers to hand it back to Armstrong, still with a 3-score lead, 28-7, and less than 30 to play here in the third quarter. So Armstrong's going to take over at their own 24. The Panthers, since either turning it over on downs or punting on their first 3 possessions, had scored in 4 of their previous 5 before that turnover on downs. Only time they didn't score was the fumble late in the first half that eventually led to the Armstrong passing touchdown. And they will get a completion there to Eli Kemple on a little slant, as he'll pick up 3 or 4 here. Oh, incomplete. That did fall incomplete. And so again, nothing doing for this Robbinsdale Armstrong offense. 17 seconds to play with here till we switch sides at the quarter break. Hall to Francis. Francis will pick up 3 or 4 here. One of the Panthers shaken up at the bottom of the pile here for SLP. That is number 3, Cade Skelly, who's a little slow to get up. And that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. Panthers have added to the lead. 28-7 after a 59-yard passing touchdown to Kalen Truckenbrod. More suffocating defense from the Panthers, and they're in command on homecoming night here in Spring Lake Park.
Businesses grow. Come to live, work, and play in Lino Lakes.
Oh, we are fully into the dog days of fall. I mean, it feels like a summer night. And the pups are loving it. Spring Lake Park fans are loving it. And it has been a homecoming party here tonight at Spring Lake Park. Hall getting the snap, throwing one down the middle of the field. Oh, what a catch here by Pharrell DeLine. There were 2 Panthers swarming to the football, including Jake Dunbar. But Gabe Hall threads the needle and completes the pass here to his favorite target tonight, as DeLine pulls in his 3rd catch of the evening. And we've got a down player injured here for SLP. A 26-yard completion to DeLine, who's now got 81 yards receiving tonight for number 8 for Robbinsdale Armstrong. We mentioned the head coach, Jack Negan. His offensive coordinator is Lee Spahn, Albany, Minnesota native, who calls the plays for the Falcons. With the headset there, we've introduced you to Jack Negan, who's taken the Falcons to 3 straight state tournaments. Former offensive coordinator at the Academy of Holy Angels, where he was on the staff with Ray Betton, who's now the Shakopee head coach. And I was talking with John Stewart, the Panther head coach. There's Marcus Schneider, the guy who was shaken up. He's getting up a little worse for the wear, but seems to be all right. John Stewart was telling me about kind of the decision-making that went into the Panthers tweaking their offense this year. They've gone away from the split halfback veer option that they have been running for, I mean, decades here at Spring Lake Park, going back to the Jeff Schlief era when Stewart was the offensive coordinator. Well, Ray Betton at Shakopee, one of the guys that John Stewart tapped into to get some information about running the flex bone, and there's a ball on the turf, and the Panthers have recovered to get the football back here on homecoming. How about the senior Jamal Smith with a takeaway, and Spring Lake Park's defense with their 12th takeaway in 5 games this season. Just a botched fumble there by Lucas Wadkey on the pitch, and Jamal Smith was Johnny on the spot there for Spring Lake Park. That is an incredible number. 4th fumble recovery to go along with 8 interceptions by the Panther defense. I mean, there is very little to poke into the game of this Panther defense this year. They're a deep group. They've rolled 7-8 D linemen deep, and they're aggressive and force takeaways. They've recovered a fumble here as Nolan Roach will take it on the quarterback keeper to the right side. Drive starting at the 40, and Roach is going to gain about 1 or 2 as he was forced out by Lucas Wadkey. This will be 2nd down and 9 coming up after the 1-yard pickup for Roach. And you are in cruise control now here for Spring Lake Park. This is a spot where, I mean, almost John Stewart's thinking about pulling up the reclining chair and kicking back over there on the Spring Lake Park sideline. Panthers with a multi-touchdown lead in the 4th quarter, and the way the Panthers can run the ball and milk some clock, they feel good about the spot they're in right now. We've seen how explosive Armstrong can be, so you still want to go out there and play your hallmark mistake-free football, not give many chances here to strike quickly on the other end. But again, Panthers feeling good here. And the play clock is not running right now. The officials were getting that ball set. Now the play clock will run. And Roach will handle the snap. He wants to pitch to E.J. Monluo. He cuts it back up the field, falls forward for a gain of about 4 here for the Panthers. Eli Kemple with the tackle. That'll set up 3rd down and 6 after the 4-yard gain by Monluo. Line to gain is the 49 on the other side of the 50. Roach here with Markwell Mitchell lined up as the fullback. They've got Jackson Rice out as the wingback alongside E.J. Monluo. That's Lamari Brown, beg your pardon, the fullback. And Spring Lake Park will take the timeout here, coming from John Stewart's end. That is the first timeout the Panthers have taken. They've still got 2 left to play with. Armstrong with their full allotment of 3 second-half timeouts. Well, if the Panthers can take care of business here tonight, they would be 5-0 to start the season. What you see below this game, the 3 remaining games in the regular season. Robbinsdale Cooper, the Falcons' rivals, next up on the slate. The Panthers at home next week, Friday, before they travel to Buffalo. Buffalo edged out this Falcons team in a 1-possession game, 27-21 last week. And then Brainerd to close the week. Right now, Brainerd, the Warriors, are the number 10 ranked team in Class 5A. And Spring Lake Park poised as the top seed in their section. They do have an 8-team section again this year. That hasn't been the case the last few years with all these new teams moving up and down between 5A and 6A. The Panthers are likely going to have to play 3 section games if they want to get to the state tournament. E.J. Monluo dropped for a loss here, but we do have a flag on the play. Holding call on the Panthers. It's going to be declined, as you see there, by Armstrong. So it brings up 4th down and medium here for Spring Lake Park. They're going to bring on the punt team, it looks like. Well, they made a lot of changes to high school football with some of the realignment this year, and I think one of the things that's a welcome change, and it more affects 6A than 5A, but you actually play most of the teams in your section now. So you saw that upcoming schedule. Spring Lake Park are in a section with Buffalo, with Robbinsdale Armstrong, Irondale, Cooper, and Park Center. So if the Panthers, especially those matchups you saw on the schedule with Cooper and Buffalo, if they can notch wins in those, it basically guarantees them home field advantage all the way through the section playoffs as long as they keep on winning. And the Panthers right now looking like the favorites to get out of their section number 6 now in Class 5A. And they keep taking care of business, they might find themselves at US Bank Stadium and knocking on the door of a prep bowl here late into November. Keep your Thanksgiving weekend plans on hold, Panther fans. I mean, just in case. Still plenty of work to do for the Panthers, but they're looking like a state tournament team right now. Here's Hall, wheels out, right side, floats it down the field, and that will be caught by Lucas Wadke, senior receiver. Hall's in his 11th catch of the season. First tonight. He had come in with 148 yards receiving. And he'll pick up double digits here to get the Falcons beyond the 30. They'll spot it at the 36. And we got another injured player here down. All wheeled out. Wadke got wrestled down there as the Panthers were looking for another takeaway. Thompson was trying to strip the ball and looked like kind of a lower back. Wadke was kind of reaching for his lower back there. And he's the player down on the field right now here after the 16-yard pickup for the Falcons. 28-7, the Panthers lead it. Now there's another look at it. First man in on the tackle, second man goes for the ball. Panthers are just trying to make a play, and Wadke got kind of twisted up underneath. He's a key piece of this Falcon receiving core. They've been largely bottled up tonight, aside from Pharrell DeLine, who's got 81 yards receiving. That catch is the first reception by anybody else in the receiving core for the Falcons tonight. And this Spring Lake Park defense, we said in the open, this is probably the best team the Panthers have faced this year, and they have checked all the boxes here tonight, and their defense is for real, if you didn't believe it already. And you look at the rest of the schedule, and the Panthers are going to be thinking they're going to be the favorites going into the rest of those matchups through the end of the year, with Brainerd maybe being that last big test at the end of the season. This one fired downfield. There's the man, Pharrell DeLine, who's been a standout tonight for Robbinsdale Armstrong. Man, talented receiver here, number 8. And he just beats his man down the field for a beeline catch over the back shoulder. Nicely done. And a good throw by Gabe Hall to build a little bit of confidence. Gets it to the 34. And there goes a slashing run up the middle here from Ben Francis. A little bit of hurry up here by Armstrong as they try to get something going. It was a 30-yard catch by DeLine to get him to over 100 on the day. They will spot this next play here at the 19. So Francis picked up 15. And another flag here in the play for some kind of looked like extracurriculars, a little pushing and shoving after the play. See how this crew sorts it out. Matt Dean with you here on North Metro TV. Mid fourth quarter here as we're starting to wind down here in a homecoming night at Spring Lake Park. Offsetting penalties. They're going to say an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty here.
That's a 15-yard penalty.
So 15-yard penalty there on Armstrong. And yeah, look, you can see DeLine at the end. He was taken a little bit too far. He's got to know when to stop. But up until maybe that last shove, I don't have a problem with that. DeLine standing up for his guys. He had his left tackle in a compromising position there on the ground. And he maybe took it a little bit too far there. Panther defense all over this play, and more flags flying here in Spring Lake Park. Armstrong, if this score holds, will look to rebound next week as they will host Elk River, who going into last week were the #1 ranked team in the state in Class 5A. And Elk River got drilled last week in a surprising upset as they were thumped 52-16 against previous #10 Alexandria. Alex moved up to #4 in the Class 5A rankings, as we showed you a little bit earlier. It was a really exciting week last week in terms of action in Class 5A. Well, since this one's starting to get a little out of hand, we'll check in on some of the other Class 5A scores here in a minute. Little dump off, and it finds his intended target here as Hall will get Cal Pylon involved. He's been an outside backer playing two ways here for Armstrong tonight. 4-yard pickup for Pylon. And they called a 3-yard gain here. 2nd down and 7. Come on. Hall hands it off. And that is Zakai Nix. Zakai Nix, the junior. Maybe a gain of 1 there in forward progress for Nix. Not much going. And with 7:30 to go and the clock still running. Ball's at the 15 here for Armstrong. Panther fans still making some noise for the 3rd down play. That one batted out of harm's way by Ian Olland. Good coverage there. He was stride for stride right there with Mason Anderson. Nice play for the junior corner. All right, other Class 5A action from tonight. So you get another look there at that coverage from Ollins. I mean, that is a perfectly timed leap. Elk River bouncing back nicely as in a final score they upend Cambridge Isani 51-19 tonight. Irondale lost in another Section 6 matchup, as we'll have a timeout called here coming from the Armstrong side. Robbinsdale Cooper 49-14 winners at Irondale tonight. Checking in on some of the other action from elsewhere in the Panthers section. St. Paul Central beat St. Paul Harding and Humboldt tonight 14-8 in an overtime game. Had a Minneapolis matchup between Roosevelt and Southwest. That was the Lakers of Southwest, 40-13 in the win in that one. Against the Teddies, Minneapolis Washburn 47-12 past Camden High School. They were playing at Washburn tonight. North Branch 22-12 winners up over Duluth East in Duluth tonight. Other Class 5A action to update you on the scores that we've got rolling in from elsewhere around the state. 10th ranked Brainerd tonight, by the way, lost 44-6 at Bemidji. So we were telling you maybe keep an eye on that Week 8 matchup for the Panthers. Well, Brainerd, who had just moved up to number 10 in the rankings. Lose tonight against Bemidji. Here's Hall wheeling out. Hall looking center and crossing the plane. Touchdown. Lucas Wadkey picks up the reception on a 4th down play from the 16-yard line for Robbinsdale Armstrong. It's a 2-score game with 7 minutes left to go. So Robbinsdale Armstrong making some noise. I don't believe they have a 3rd down conversion tonight. Very few, but twice they have converted on 4th and with a 1st down to gain and scored twice on touchdowns on 4th down plays tonight. So 28-14. Hall slinging it, and Wadkey caught it at about the 1. Took it across the line the rest of the way here. And the Panthers, again, they were getting out and getting after Hall, who has not had a lot of time to throw here tonight against this suffocating Panther defense. But Armstrong are on the board. Yeah, 1 3rd down conversion tonight. There you go. But twice on 4th down plays, they've gone for it and found the end zone. All right, so if Armstrong's defense can come out here, dial up some pressure, get a 3-and-out stop, or make it a relatively short series here for Spring Lake Park, we've got ourselves a ball game. I don't think it's time to be looking out for an onside kick yet, but Panther special teamers will be aware of some surprises that could come. Noah Miller is handling this kickoff. They might be going for an onside kick here. They're going to try it. Truckenbrod into the hands team, and he's there to swallow it up here just shy of the 50-yard line. All right, so I thought they were just going to straight up go with the regular kick. They kind of played their hand a little bit. Moses Kamara, who's got the big leg from the soccer team, he normally handles those kickoffs. They brought Miller out, kind of their onside kick specialist, and Panthers will retake possession here with 7:02 to play, and they lead by 2 touchdowns here in the 4th quarter. Nolan Roach, a junior who started most of last year as the Panthers QB1 as a sophomore. He will hand it off here to Mitchell. Fantastic day for Marquell Mitchell, crossing the century mark for the 3rd time in 5 games this year as a sophomore. And he's had a pretty good running back to follow in the footsteps of Lamari Brown, who came up as a freshman, but really in particular burst onto the scene his sophomore year. John Stewart, when he's got the requisite talent, not shy about playing underclassmen if he thinks they're ready at varsity. A face mask on the defense is going to move the chains here for Spring Lake Park. Mitchell looks like a leg cramp, is struggling to get up. Greta Solum is one of the varsity defensive linemen. She's not dressed in pads tonight, wearing number 78. Is out there helping out. 28-14 Panthers with inside 7 minutes left to go. Yeah, they wouldn't be stretching out like this if they thought there was any kind of issue with the knee. This looks like a cramp to me. And Mitchell will take his time here to try to get himself back up. Well, the Panthers have the luxury right now of a 2-score lead. They really want to try to get this bruising sophomore back onto the field. I mean, he's such a great complementary back to Brown, who's about 20 pounds lighter, the senior. He's a little bit more your shiftier, quick twitch playmaker. But Mitchell, this is probably one of the reasons, and it wasn't necessarily something that John Stewart said about why they switched to the triple option. but they will play Brown at the fullback spot a little bit. But I got to imagine having a guy with his kind of build, Marquell Mitchell, a 5'10", 197-pound fullback, to slot him to that B-back spot. That gives you the confidence that you can make that triple option that you'll see the Army Black Knights run maybe on Saturdays. Why it works so well in high school football and why so many teams run it here in the state of Minnesota. You'll see your Shakopees, your Eagans, all some teams in the Twin Cities area that run this flexbone triple option that the Panthers have transitioned to this year. Kind of the academy style offense a lot of college teams like Army run. That's Brown in as the fullback now, and Lamari will fall forward here for a gain of about 4 or 5 on first down for the Panthers. And that was one of the other reasons Coach Stewart said there's so many more resources that you can go to and tap other teams about what works for them, make your own tweaks. It's still Panther football. It's just a slightly different version of it. And I think the offense with that veer option the Panthers have run for so long, it's a pretty smooth transition now to go into this triple option format. Centennial Cougars, we should cite too, a team that a lot of times will run a lot of their sets out of this formation. And Coach Stewart saying that the OC over at Centennial, Travis Littlefield's been a resource that he's used. Gain of 7 there for Lamari Brown. Will move the chains here for Spring Lake Park. All of a sudden Brown's up to 42 yards on the day. Brown, by the way, if he gets to 80 tonight, he becomes Spring Lake Park's 3rd all-time leading rusher. This scoreline might prevent him from crossing that threshold here tonight. Right now, E.J. Alaya sits 3rd all-time on the Spring Lake Park rushing list. There are 2 3,000-yard rushers in Spring Lake Park history. I don't know that Brown's going to finish his career number 1, but I think he's going to be a 3,000-yard rusher by the end of his career. Zach Ogilvie had over 3,800 yards. He was the Panther quarterback about 10 years ago when Spring Lake Park went to the Prep Bowl. He's the all-time leading rusher in Spring Lake Park history. Isley Carrington, who played here from 2013 to 2015, got to 3,065, the other 3,800-yard rusher. Well, Brown's out of this game, and Roach is going to cut it back up the middle, and Roach going to fall shy of the end zone there. And what'll be about a 15-yard gain here. It gets him to the 2. Panther first down here for Nolan Roach. And great push there. Look at that Panther offensive line just moving the line ahead there. Call it an 18-yard gain for Roach. He's got 38 on the ground tonight. And he's thrown for over 100 passing through the air with a touchdown. Roach to Lamari Brown, looking for the end zone. It looks like he's going to come up short. Maybe got it to the 1, but certainly didn't cross the plane. Clock still ticking. Couple of timeouts left to use for Armstrong, but that'll be a moot point if the Panthers can find pay dirt here and finish this one off. They'll give the 1-yard gain to Lamari Brown, and it's 2nd and goal from the 1 here for SLP. Roach handing. Brown leaping at the line. No signal. And they're going to say he came up short. No gain.
Gain of a half yard on the play.
The public address announcer here at Spring Lake Park making the note, a gain of a half yard there. And this will set up 3rd down and goal. You can see it's a little under less than a yard to go here for Spring Lake Park. You're shaving valuable time off the clock here. Just about to hit the 2-minute mark. Brown still dotting the I as the fullback after Mitchell had to come out with the cramps. It'll be Roach, QB keeper. Ball is loose at the goal line. He crossed the plane. Touchdown Panthers. Nolan Roach takes it in the final yard. You can see the officials getting together and saying that broke the plane before the ball came loose. Great work by our crew and a great drive by the Panthers to seal the deal here in homecoming. Nolan Roach is going to pick up his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. He's accounted for 1 through the air and 1 on the ground tonight. 6 passing, 5 rushing in terms of Roach's individual totals on the season this year. Roach with a 1-yard touchdown run caps off a 60-yard drive here for the Panthers, their first real lengthy sustained drive of the night. Then just when they needed it, after Armstrong scores, you can see Roach breaking the plane before that ball came loose in the end zone. And that's a good call by our officiating crew. I always go down and try to get their names, and I say, hey, look, guys, this is a pro officiating broadcast here on North Metro TV. And good job. I think that was Pete Schutte, the umpire that kind of made that very clear call when that ball coming loose at the 1. They can appreciate some good officiating, especially when they're calling touchdown Panthers. And it has been a raucous crowd here in Spring Lake Park. The mood is tempered a little bit as the Panthers are starting to run away with it. But they have been having a great time here in homecoming on this beautiful facility, Panthers Stadium. The Spring Lake Park High School, our backdrop. Here in the north suburbs on North Metro TV. We gave you some of the other Class 5A scores. It's also homecoming in Blaine tonight. We should check in on some of the other scores of local interest here around in Spring Lake Park. It goes from bad to worse here for Armstrong. The Panthers have recovered a fumble. Well, they'll say the Falcons recovered. Panther fans thought they had picked up that football off the turf. We don't presently have a score from Blaine tonight. We can tell you that Mounds View shut out Eastridge tonight on the road 21-0. Another local score. Taking a look at some of the games going on in 6A. Maple Grove 56-14 on the other side of the state. They beat Moorhead tonight. That's a huge win for the Crimson. The Spuds top 10 rated entering the week in 6A. Nice run by Ben Francis. He's hit hard by Jake Dunbar after about a pickup of 7 there for Armstrong. Centennial shutting out Rogers tonight on the road 36-0. The Cougars were winners. Some of your other out-of-town scores. We got a flag in the backfield as that was a keeper from Gabe Hall. Let's see what the penalty is going to do here to that. 1:22 to go here in the 4th quarter. Holding on the offense, going to wipe away that play for the Falcons. It's been a penalty-filled contest. The Panthers have committed more mistakes than they've wanted tonight, but the big plays, both on offense, the tackles for loss on defense, have more than made up for it tonight. We're seeing some of the second unit defense start to get out there. We'll try to mix in as many names as we can. Sawyer Johnson getting up on the line here on homecoming for the Panthers. Mason Bergstrom, it looks like, playing a little D ends. That is Ja'Kai Nix getting forced out of bounds here by Spring Lake Park's defense. He'll pick up 10 yards on the play. Forced out by Marcus Snyder, the starting safety, still out there for Spring Lake Park. Third down and 2 here for Armstrong with inside a minute left to go. Nix wiggling his way up the middle. And there's a tackle by Sawyer Johnson. 6'2", 221-pound senior getting in some reps out there at D tackle. Stops the clock here to move the chains after a 2-yard gain. Well, pretty dominant here from Spring Lake Park tonight, and it all started with the defense. You're going to see that 35 points up on the scoreboard. But this was a night where the defense for the Panthers set the tone. Spring Lake Park, their first 3 possessions started, deep into Armstrong territory. They weren't able to get anything from it. The defense stood tall, and then the offense woke up in the second quarter, scoring 3 touchdowns before the break. And the Panthers would add a couple more in the second half to win it on homecoming, 35-14 here tonight against the Robbinsdale Armstrong Falcons. Panthers go to 5-0 as they stay unbeaten, over halfway gone in the high school football season. Remember to stick around. We've got post-game interviews still to come, coming your way next on North Metro TV. All right, back here at Spring Lake Park High School, Panthers polishing off a 35-14 win on homecoming to go to 5-0 on the season. Third-ranked team in the state in Class 5A. We're here down in the field. A few of the standouts for the Spring Lake Park Panthers tonight. Comprehensive team effort. Brody Gemlow, Colin Welch, Marquell Mitchell. Talking a little bit of the 3 phases of the game. So we'll start with the defense and defensive lineman Brody Gemlow, a senior. Brody, 2 sacks tonight for you individually. The Panther defense, though, really picked things up for this squad early. Offense had some good field position, couldn't take advantage. You guys didn't give up anything. What was working well for the defense for you guys, just like setting the tone, I guess, to start the night?
Just everything, team effort, everyone, the whole team just buzzing around, flying, whole game. So it's a team effort. I think that's what was working great for us. Everyone out there on the team, just doing their job.
I talked to Coach Stewart a little bit this week, and one of the things he said for the defense, the defensive line is one of the strengths of the team. Your guys' starters are good, but you guys are rolling 7, 8 guys deep at times. How does that help you guys stay fresh and be better as a unit together?
It helps us just stay fresh for every single play, not getting tired, and just the physicality is just there every single play.
All right. Thanks, Brody. We'll also talk to Colin Welch. Talking about a little bit of special teams, Colin, because you had a chance. It looked like you were going to run back the opening kickoff for a touchdown on homecoming. Lost your footing a little bit. You still had maybe one guy to beat, but it looked like a touchdown. And then you get another opportunity. You run it back 99 yards for the touchdown right before half. How good did that feel, considering I imagine you felt like you left points on the table earlier in the game?
Yeah, it was a great feeling. I definitely had to get back from that first one. The turf monster got me on that. But I've had a lot of times the last 2 years where I've had some special teams touchdowns that I've got called back for flags. So once I got that one, I had to look around and there was no flags on the field. So that's when it hit me. I finally got it. So.
What's that say about the Panthers where, the offense got out to a little bit of a slow start, but then, the defense, the special teams, it feels like you guys have answers to different ways to win games.
Yeah, it keeps you in the game for sure. Defense, we did our job tonight. Offense got off to a slow start, but that big run by Marquell got it going. So, special team just keeps us in it when our offense is kind of slow.
All right. Thanks, Colin. And again, nice transition. Also, Marquell Mitchell, sophomore running back for the Spring Lake Park Panthers this year. Marquell, you guys didn't have much going on offense. You sparked things a little bit with that big 70-plus yard run for the touchdown. Just what did that do for you guys, for you to put together that big play, and it just felt like the offense as a whole just clicked after that?
It just brought our team up. Our QB just made a good read. He switched the play, and I just had to go. That's it.
What's been the easiest thing for you in terms of what's made it easier to transition to varsity so quickly as a sophomore? You got a lot of experienced guys around you that I imagine have helped you along the way make it such an easy transition.
My linemen, they make it easy for me, make it too easy for me. They just make up hub, I just go through it. They just make it so easy for me. I love my lineman. I ain't gonna lie.
All right, 5-0 start for the Panthers. Last thing, Marquel, what are you looking forward to next week and beyond for SLP?
Another win and a championship. That's all.
All right, short and sweet. We love it. Marquel Mitchell, Brody Gemlo, Colin Welch here, all with us after the Panthers notch the victory tonight. They're 5-0 and headed again for another home tilt next week. From Spring Lake Park High School, I'm Matt Dean. From Ted LaRue and our entire crew, thanks for tuning into this one. Your final score, Panthers 35, Armstrong 14 as we sign out here in North Metro TV.
The right waste goes into the right waste streams.